Spiritual elitism is rampant in the personal and spiritual development space. And the leaders who engage in this are the same leaders who are holding us back from moving forward as a conscious collective. If you want to rise up as a leader in today's world, you need to do so from a place of compassion, not elitism. In this edition of Thursday's Thought, you'll learn the one truth that all leaders need to embody, what it takes to create true connection with your audience, and why you need to kick your pedestal to the curb. Today's episode is sponsored by my advanced digital training, Unleashed and Unapologetic: How to Become a Thought Leader and Build a Cult Following. If you're ready to gain visibility, build a loyal following, and create impact while increasing your income, enroll for the You and You training at rubyfremon.com/unleashed. Now, whether you're new to this podcast or you're a loyal thought leader, please make sure you take a moment to drop a rating and a review on iTunes. Now, finally, it is time to dive into this edition of Thursday's Thought. Hey, thought leaders, I'm back for another edition of Thursday Thoughts, and I feel so called to share this message today. There's been something that I've been noticing, and I know I'm not the only one, in the personal and especially the spiritual development space, the spiritual development industry, if you want to call it that, because that's essentially what it is. And it's this idea of elitism. It's this idea that I am better because I do X, Y, and Z. Or I am better because I have achieved X, Y, and Z, or I am being X, Y, and Z, or I am wearing X, Y, and Z, whatever the fuck it is. But it's this idea of elitism, and it's super, super prevalent in the personal and spiritual development space. And we need to fucking ground this back into reality. We've heard people talking, maybe you've heard people talking about the fifth dimension. You know, we're ascending. You've probably heard people talking about the ascension, like we're ascending into the fifth dimension. And yes, I believe that there are multiple dimensions that we are living. I'm a very spiritual being, and I believe that we are very much living in the third dimension on planet Earth as human fucking beings in human bodies. And it's really important for us to stay grounded in that truth, because the moment that you start to think that you are better than is the moment that you create separation. The moment that you put yourself on a fucking pedestal is the moment that you create division. So the very things that you say that you're fighting for as a spiritual leader, the very things that you're fighting for, which is a sense of freedom, a sense of union, a sense of oneness, is the very thing that you are perpetuating by putting yourself on a pedestal, by thinking that you're better than other people because you do regular ayahuasca ceremonies, or you don't drive a car you drive an electric car and you use glass straws, or whatever the fuck it is. Like, we see this everywhere in so many different ways, and it needs to fucking stop, because the very thing that we are all driving towards, which is the advancement of our conscious collective, is something that can only be done as a team, like as an earth team, like as in, we need to go at this together. Because the moment that we create this division, this separation, this I'm better than you are because X, Y, and Z, the moment that we create that is the moment that we create that separation and the division that is going to prevent us from moving forward as a conscious collective. I mean, war is stemmed from division and separation. The only way that we will come to a place of peace and a place of freedom and a place of really understanding each other and experiencing that oneness is through compassion and through understanding this one fucking truth. And I really want to drive this home, okay? Everyone is on the same journey of growth. Every single person on this planet, your neighbor, your mom, your uncle, your cousin, your friend, that person you went to school with, that person who bullied you, everyone is on the same journey of growth. In fact, we as human beings share this one common purpose, and that purpose is to evolve. Every single human being on this planet shares the same purpose, and the purpose is to evolve. We are here to evolve as human beings, which is why we grow. We grow physically, we grow mentally, we grow spiritually, and the world around us is constantly evolving and growing as well. So with this one truth that everyone is doing, is on the same journey of growth, what this really essentially means is that everyone is doing their best with where they're at, what they know, and what's available to them. Okay? So for those of you who are still holding grudges against your parents for their parenting, your parents were doing their best with where they were at, what they knew, and what was available to them. Like, really breathe that in. To the bully that you might still be angry towards, that bully was doing their best with where they're at, what they knew, and what was available to them. To the person who might be causing you distress in your life right now, that person is doing their best with where they're at, what they know, and what's available to them. Now, this truth, this one truth that everyone's on the same journey of growth, changed my fucking life in such a massive way, because it helps me infuse compassion into every single encounter, into every single relationship, because I can now look at people and say, wow, they're on the same journey as me. We might be at different points in our journey, but right now they're doing their best with where they're at, what they know, and what's available to them. They really just don't know any better in this moment. And just because I know better doesn't make me better, because at one point in time, I was them. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, this is how we as leaders need to fucking rise, not through spiritual elitism, but by placing ourselves with the people, by placing ourselves with our audience, by placing ourselves with our neighbors, with our friends, with our loved ones, amongst everyone else. Because leadership is not about placing yourself on a pedestal. It's not about preaching that you're so much better than other people because you've achieved or done X, Y, and Z. It's about understanding that we are all on the same journey. And to be a leader today is really all about leading by being. And the best way to do this is to focus on being our very best in any given moment in time. So right now, you are doing your best with where you're at, what you know, and what's available to you. And tomorrow you're going to be doing your best with where you're at, what you know, and what's available to you. And every time that you go through some sort of an expansion, mentally, spiritually, physically, you're going to reach a new level and then start working from that new level at doing your best. And this is what everyone on this planet is doing. So there is no single person who is doing it better than another. And this nonsense in the personal development, the spiritual development space needs to fucking stop, because it's creating the very division that we're trying to put to rest. No one is on a pedestal. You know, in fact, at my event this year, the third and final Amplified Soul Live, I actually got rid of the stage altogether. I was like, fuck it. Like, I don't even want a stage. I want people to enter this space and understand that we are all leaders, because these are the people who I work with. I work with purpose-driven leaders. So to try and stand at the front of the room and come from an energy of I'm better than you because I do this event, and I'm better than you because I sit in ceremony, or I'm better than you because I've accomplished X, Y, and Z, is the very thing that's going to create a division between me and my audience. And as a leader, as a thought leader, that's the last thing you want to do. You want to create connection with your audience. You want to create relatability with your audience. And the only way you can do that is by infusing compassion into everything that you do, into your being, into your message. And to do that, you need to understand that we're all on the same journey of growth, and that every single person on this planet is doing their best with where they're at, what they know, and what's available to them. Compassion matters. It creates connection. Pedestals create division. So if you are here to lead, if you have a message, if you have a purpose, and you know that you're here to impact the fucking world, then refuse to put yourself on a pedestal and instead own and embody this one truth, that everyone is on the same journey of growth. We're all just at different places on this journey. We all learn the same lessons, right? We all learn the lesson of forgiveness. We all learn the lesson of resilience. We all learn the lesson of compassion. We all learn the lesson and the power of speaking our truth and speaking our voices. We're all learning these things. We all learn the lesson of self-love. We're all learning these same fucking lessons because we're all on the same journey. We're just at different points in our journeys. So the more that you start to approach your leadership from this one truth, that we're all on the same journey, the more connection and relatability you're going to be able to create, to cultivate with your audience. And it'll help you create much healthier relationships with the people around you. So refuse to put yourself on a pedestal and instead embody this one truth, that everyone is on the same journey of growth, that everyone is doing their best with where they're at, what they know, and what's available to them. Refuse to feed this energy of spiritual elitism. Refuse to let yourself think that you're better than everyone else, and instead see us all as just human beings on a very human path, on a very human journey that isn't always fucking easy, and we're all just doing our best. Because that is what the world needs, and that is what our collective consciousness needs in order to move forward. Whew. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Thursday's Thought on Today's Thought Leader, where I'm challenging you to rise up, speak up, and create a fucking movement. Now, for those of you who really are ready to gain visibility, build a loyal following, and create impact while increasing your income, enroll for my advanced digital training at rubyfremon.com/unleashed. The best part about this training is that you'll gain access to monthly coaching and mentorship calls with me. So go to that link, it'll be in the show notes, sign up, and let's fucking make this happen. If you dig this short episode, please drop a rating and review on iTunes. I will so appreciate you. And share it with a friend. Share the love. Share it in your social media. If you dig it, share it. If you have any questions or anything that you want to share in conjunction with this episode, then please reach out to me on social media. You can find me everywhere at I Am Ruby. Check back on Monday for a brand new episode of Today's Thought Leader.